Hey, it's Dr. Amanda with Straightsmile Solutions, straightsmilesolutions.com, and I just wanted to go over just kind of an updated 2026 IPE instructions for submission for the quote-unquote Clin Check for the IPE, for Invisalign IPE, Invisalign Palatal Expander. Yes, I'm showing a lower Schwartz on the lower. This is just for conversation piece. So basically, if you've watched all my other content on IPE submission and how to pick the right size for your IPE, I've kind of like evolved in my process. And I think that's the beauty of all my content, is that you can kind of find all different ways of doing things and thought processes, and things change, right? Standards change, options change, efficiencies change. So in any case, initially when I first, and I've taken every class that's been offered to me, whether it's in person, I've flown to different states to take in-person classes, I've taken the virtuals, I've taken the orthodontist ones, the GP ones, and the pediatric ones if they let me. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. Because, for your portal, you can only sign up for the ones for the specialty that you are. But sometimes I get let in. In any case, I don't have a point person at Align Technology anymore. For a while, I did. And then they started trying to be my handler and trying to control what I said, and I dumped them pretty quickly. For a while, I had access to their C-suite team, and they were very nice. They would contact me and ask me to make corrections, and that feedback was great, but then it got to be a little controlling. So, and they wanted me to say things. They wanted to censor me on things that were correct, I didn't like that. And at least that's the way I interpreted it. So without getting myself sued with this with this video, my goal here, as always, I like to give these disclaimers whenever I do an Align Technology video. I've never taken a dollar from this company. I've certainly spent a lot of dollars on this company. I spent a lot of money trying to get myself educated, and my education only benefits you guys. So the more I understand it, the more my just ability to make this product great evolves. I started off doing my ortho consulting, being super open-minded to all aligner brands, and I'm still open-minded. However, I've actually swung the pendulum back over to Align Technology, and you'll see it if you listen to my videos. You guys will be like, wait, for a while you're saying there's lots of other options. Yeah, there were. And then they started being junk again. So, and that's just my opinion. Right now, this is my favorite brand. I'm sorry. I know it's expensive. I know it's closed. I'm sorry. I know you guys don't like their scanner. Those of you guys who are general dentists, I still think if you're going to do ortho, unless you're exclusively only doing adults, but even if you're exclusively only doing adults, so many people say they're going to, and then they end up loving phase one interceptive, finding so much more opportunities, so much less stress in it. And if you're going to do phase one interceptive or anything teen related, you gotta have an iTero. I'm sorry, there's no other way to do a lot of teen ortho without including the Invisalign brand. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion. It's just, you're going to have so much more work for you trying to get a similar outcome and a similar standard of care, unless you're doing only braces, but then you're gonna have more risks and more chair time. So in any case, that's up to you. But I digress. We're talking about the IPE submission. So initially, first time in my first kind of batch of content I made about IPE, I talked about how you can use the lower arch to try to, when you submit that, because you're submitting your IPE and your lower differently, right? It's very rare you're only going to do an IPE. Very rare. I mean, there's a few cases that'll happen in mixed dentition, early mixed dentition only, but it's very rare that you have a truly constricted palate on top without any curve of Wilson issues on the lower. As long as we can get started with the IPE and start the lower either an expander, removable, fixed, or braces, or Invisalign first at the same time, or a month or two later. But I would say it's very rare that you're going to have one. But it does happen. So, shock me if you find a case. I might find one in 500. But it happens. But too many of you are looking at the cases thinking it's only an IPE case. I'm like, you're going to have to do something on the lower. So anyways, so there was initially just a way to measure it. It was I think it was too complex for a lot of the pediatric dentists and general dentists to understand. And so as they started phasing IPE more into the pediatric dentist and the general dentist market, they came up with a widget, which is smart. I don't know how accurate the widget is though. So that's what I'm telling you guys. Widget makes sense to me. And as you start to submit an IPE case, you're going to see this widget pop up, which is going to allow you to kind of play with it and see, okay, if I take this to 11, if I take this to 12, if I take this to 8, what does it look like in terms of, am I going to get a buccal crossbite? What is it going to look like if I don't do anything on the lower? Here's the thing though, even if you don't do anything on the lower, and I really hope you're not trapping your lower while you're doing this in a LLHA. Do not do that. Do not trap the lower in an LLHA. Look, This case clearly needs uprighting curve of Wilson. So like this actually shows you you're lower. Yeah, it needs uprighting. Because if I upright it, I can actually go a little wider on top. And if it's that rolled in, it's probably rolled in because the top was constricting it and blocking it. And it's very rare you're going to have something that needs uprighting and doesn't have crowding. Usually it's both, right? So I just want you, if you start to see this, sometimes it makes you go, whoa, maybe I do need to do the lower. I see this now. And then they redo it. But regardless, to me, just freaking slide it all the way over to 12. I mean, I wouldn't be paying $700 for an IPE if I wasn't needing a lot of expansion. If I was planning to cut it short and finish in just clear aligners, which isn't airway beneficial, it isn't skeletal beneficial, anything like that, you can do it. It's going to make more space, but it's not going to give you the airway benefits as much, you know? It might give you the myo benefits, but not the direct skeletal airway benefits. I know all the research isn't there yet, but it is what it is, okay? Enough of the research is there that I can say this pretty confidently, and every orthodontist with a brain in their head agrees with me. So they may not say it outwardly because they don't want to get sued, but that's just how it is. So again, you can try the widget. I don't know how accurate it is. You guys let me know if you think it's accurate. I'll know in about 6 months if it is. To me, just slide it over to 12 and just use what you need and just eyeball it. I mean, it makes more sense, right? All right, thanks so much. But again, there was nothing disparaging in this video. It was, I actually really like this product. I think you should use this product. I'm not sure about the new software update, but you can definitely try it, or you can just slide it to 12. But I feel like I'm telling my doctors, if you're choosing to use it, notice it, you know, and then if it's off, we will just keep sliding things to 12. If you're choosing not to use it, see what it said, and we'll see if it was accurate, because I think it's a fun game. All right, thanks.